Shalom Akim, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praises unto our power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth, and shalom unto the hopeful elect, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. May you endure until the end. Alright, it's Brother Aparium 144, again with another video. I want to go into prayer and fasting in these last days. You know, I've been hearing a lot of the GMS brethren talking about prayer, alright? And I believe some of them also mentioned fasting, alright? Fasting is, you know, I'm guilty that I haven't done a whole lot of fasting, you know? But, you know, the other day on the Sabbath, you know, I did some fasting, about 12-hour fast, and you know, I noticed there's a whole nother power that comes from that. You know, you really want to take it to the next level. Fasting and prayer is really gonna get you there. All right, and I want to get some scriptures out real quick so we can kind of go over it. And if you're wondering what app I'm using, this is called the eSword. All right, you could just go on Google and type in eSword. All right, and you can use the Bible here, King James Version, Apocrypha, you know, King James Version Plus, which has the you know, the Greek and the Hebrew. All right, but with that, I want to go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started with Matthew chapter 17 and verse 21. And it says, so we'll get a little context here. Okay, let's start with verse 14. It says, and when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed, for oft times, right, which means oftentimes he falleth into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? Right, so you see the Lord Yahushua cast that devil out with no problems. All right, and you know, the disciples were having issues doing it, so they asked Yahushua, you know, why could not we cast him out? All right, and here's the key in verse 20 and 21. It says, and Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief. Okay, because again, it's impossible to please Yahweh Bashem Yahushua without faith. All right, and it says, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, right, let's deal with that word, howbeit, a primary particle, but, and, right, so that's all that means. So that means, but this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. See, and let's get that word fasting here. Abstinence from lack of food or voluntary and religious, specifically the fast of the Day of Atonement, right? Because the Day of Atonement is one day out of the year where you would fast, all right? No food and no water, all right? And of course prayer, you know. So with that being said, I mean, right there, that shows you the power of fasting and prayer. All right, because the disciples, though they couldn't do it because of their disbelief, all right, also Yahushua said, But this kind doesn't come out but by prayer and fasting. You see? So, I mean, right there, that's going to take you to the next level. All right? So, especially in these last days, I mean, again, the charagma, the juicy juice, well, not the juicy juice, but the charagma that they're getting ready to implant in people's right hands and in their foreheads. All right, y'all saw on the news with the French right now protesting and going crazy. You got 70 fires throughout France, and you got not to mention countless cars and trash cans on fire. And with all that going on, all right, you got uproars of the people. All right, y'all remember all those earthquakes that were going on. All right, so hey, now's the time to get your faith up. All right, and one of the best ways to do it is with prayer and fasting. All right, and also, if we can remember, let's see here. There was a scripture that said, remember when Yahweh Shai was getting ready to go to get crucified? Matthew 26 and 41. It says, "Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." You see? So right there, prayer, that's what's gonna strengthen your spirit. All right, because at the end, this is all a spiritual thing, right? What does the scripture say about the flesh? It says, physical exercise is of little benefit. All right, because the real benefit comes from prayer and fasting. All right, things that's gonna build your spirit up. All right, because your spirit is what's getting built up. Let's go to Daniel. All right, chapter 9 and verse 3 real quick. All right, and it says, "And I set my face unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes." Okay, again, there's a humble mindset. All right, with the sackcloth. All right, so again, humility is a big part of this truth. All right, fasting, prayer. You see, Daniel, a man of God. All right, and it says, we can continue on verse 4. It says, "And I prayed unto Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai my power, and made my confession, and said, O Yahweh, the great and dreadful power, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and have committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments." All right, and yeah, that's why we're serving slavery today in Babylon the Great, Yasharallah. That's why we served it in the slave ships. All right, we were hung together. So-called Negroes and Latinos were hung together. All right, on trees. All right, so the scriptures say, "Curses everyone that hangeth on a tree." All right, because and how can we prevent more judgment, Yasharallah? We gotta pray that we fall not into temptation, man. All right, the hopeful elect, hey, the elect, the 144,000 is not gonna get the charagma. All right, but what does the scripture say? This is the hour of temptation, Yasharallah. Let's get that. I think that's Revelation. Let's see real quick. Is it 3:10? Yeah. "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation." All right, temptation, a putting to proof, experiment. All right, experience of evil solicitations. Yeah, because the evil solicitation is, hey, you take this mark and you don't get your head cut off. You take this mark and you don't starve to death. All right, discipline or provocation. All right, by implication, adversity. Right, the furnace of adversity. All right, let's read that again. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. You see, this hour of temptation is coming upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth, man. We don't want to be found asleep. Remember when Yahushua found his disciples asleep twice when he was praying? Hey, we don't want to be like that, man. We don't want to be asleep. We want to be fasting and praying. All right? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to the best of our ability and pushing this truth as hard as we can on the highways, byways, on these videos. Any way we can, man. Even sharing other brothers' videos, man. Just pushing this truth out throughout the four corners, man. All right? Cursing our enemies in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right? This is what we need to be doing at the end of the day, Yasharallah. All right? Let's go back here. So, yep, we read Daniel. Let's go to Psalms 35 and 13. It says, but as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom. I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in mine adversity they rejoice. All right, and that's going into something else. But the point is, you're seeing a parallel here, Yasharallah. All right, all of the prophets, all right, all of the men, the wise men of old, the way they did it, all right, when they were sick, when they had a problem, all right, they got on sackcloth. They were humbled. You see, they humbled down. You can pray on your hands and knees with your head on the ground. That's a humble form of prayer. All right, Daniel would open his window and face the east. All right, that's how we're supposed to be praying, Yasharallah. Humbling our soul with fasting and with prayer. All right, fasting and prayer. This is when something very important needs to be done. When you're casting out a devil, when somebody's sick, when somebody's gonna die, and you're praying, you're begging the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Hey, we gotta have that same attitude in these last days, Yasharallah. This is the final test. This is the final test. We gotta come in strong. We gotta come in clutch. All right, prayer and fasting, Yasharallah. Prayer and fasting. All right, along with everything else we've been doing, man. But to solidify it, hey, prayer and fasting, Yasharallah, and humility. Prayer, fasting, and humility. Prayer, fasting, and humility. All right, let's go to Mark 9 and 29 real quick. All right, it's going to say the same thing as the scripture in Matthew, but in different words. Mark 9 and 29. This is the same situation with that devil. All right. And verse 28, and when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could not we cast him out? Right. Speaking of the devil that was possessing that other person. All right. Verse 29, and he said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. See, that's the only way, Yasharallah. All right, when this is pretty much like the last resort that you go to. All right, this is like your signature move in wrestling, right? This is your signature move, fasting and prayer. All right, you see that? You see that parallel? All right, and let's go to 1 Corinthians. Lord willing, this is a short video. I just wanted to get this was on my spirit. All right, because I was fasting and praying, and I felt like this surge of mental clarity and just like this strength come over me, man. Like I ain't never felt that way before. After the fasting was done, it's almost like my spirit was lifting weights, right? When your body lifts weights, you get tired, but then the next day after you sleep, you feel stronger than ever. That's how my spirit felt, man. And I was able to like overcome adversity. I only slept like 1.5 hours, and I went to work and I put in You know, I was able to put in overtime and come home and go straight to the scriptures. You know, I didn't even have to take a break or nothing. It was crazy. I was like, damn, bro, my spirit. You know, and that's how we overcome the flesh, Yasharallah. Because our flesh is weak. All right? At the end of the day, it's your spirit that's going to carry the flesh, man. There's no amount of working out and exercising is going to give you as much strength as the scriptures do. As the scriptures, fasting and prayer, these things build up the spirit. All right? Because when that charagma hits, everybody's knees are going to be weak. When Esau comes down with great wrath, when you got the military out here, the only people that's going to resist is the elect, because of the spirit that's inside of them, man. All right? And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, we will overcome this, Yasharallah. All right? This is just one of the things that's going to help us. All right? 1 Corinthians 7 and 5. Because remember, you know, another example is, David and Goliath, you know. You had David, which, yeah, he was pretty physically strong, all right, but not compared to Goliath, he wasn't. He was not as strong as Goliath. He was not as big or as heavy or as tall as Goliath, all right. But at the end of the day, the spirit that was inside of David was a stronger spirit than the one that was inside of Goliath, all right. And of course, at the end of the day, David had Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai on his side, right? And if Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai be with you, who can be against you? You know? But that also is an example of, you know, David wasn't afraid of Goliath, you know? Or he might have been afraid, but his spirit was so courageous that, you know, he came to David, and y'all could read that story for yourself again. David came up to Goliath. Goliath talked smack, and then David talked smack right back, and he ran towards Goliath, man. You know, most people, when they fight a bigger guy that you know, they could kill him, it's going to be like a careful fight. But David ran towards him, man. David was eager to cut his head off, man. That's the spirit we got to be in, Yasharallah. And that's likely going to be through prayer and fasting. All right? You're not just going to roll out of bed with that spirit. All right? Pray that the Lord put that spirit on us, man. Look at the Maccabees. You got Maccabees. I got it right here. I wrote it down. You got 2 Maccabees, chapter 6. Okay, which I should probably make a separate video on that. And 2 Maccabees, chapter 7. Let's see. Yeah, 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and 2 Maccabees chapter 7. Read those two chapters, Yasharallah. All right, and see how those men and women of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, how they died fearlessly for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, that's the spirit we need to be in. Okay, so let's get this. 1 Corinthians 7 and 5. And it says, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time. Let's get that word defraud. Okay. Deprive, right? Destitute, kept back by fraud, defraud. So we'll just say deprive. That makes sense, right? Deprive ye not one the other, right? So, you know, stay together as brothers, right? Except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer. You see this? So fasting and prayer, Yasharallah, as Yahweh Shai told us, when you pray, go in your room and close the door, or go in your closet and close the door, all right, and be alone with the Father. So when you fast and you pray, this is a solitary act. This is not something where you hold hands with people and pray. This is something where you go by yourself into a solitary place. The more solitary, the better. All right? Probably in your closet or in your room with the lights, with the doors closed and all that, you know? With the curtains closed. All right? Doors locked. All right? Fasting and prayer. And fasting means no food, no water, Yasharallah. No food, no water, no bubble gum, no salt, no sugar, no candy, no water. All right? Defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. All right, so right there, when you're done fasting and prayer, being solitary, guess what? You come back to the brotherhood. All right, so now you just powered up, you just leveled up, and now you came back with the brothers. And what does the scripture say? Three strands are not easily broken, right? So if you have the brotherhood, you're gonna be stronger together, right? But you also take that time to go solitary to build yourself up with fasting and prayer, and then you come back. Now that strand just grew. Now that's a stronger strand. So now you have three strong strands instead of three small strands. You see how that works, Yasharallah? All right. Defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Let's get that word. Want of self-restraint. You see? Excess incontinency, right? So your lack of self-control. You see? And that's really the key, Yasharallah. And a lot of us don't know we have this problem, is we lack self-control. We can't control our impulsive thoughts. We can't control our hunger pangs. We can't control our sexual desire. You see, fasting and prayer is another way to combat it. You know, abstinence, abstaining from those things that they have control over your life. And a lot of us, we let food control our life, man. All right? So, hey, fasting from food, water, all right? And do that, and then pray at the same time while you're doing that. That's going to build up your spirit like nothing else, Yasharallah. All right? And I want to show y'all some illustrations real quick. Because, yeah, this creates willpower, self-restraint, builds up your spirit to the next level. All right? So I want to show y'all some quick illustrations and just some safety measures. All right? Hey, when you fast, it's no food and no water. All right? Now, again, I mentioned in my other videos, you can build yourself up. If you're brand new, you've never done this before, you never even skipped a meal, you're that type of person, hey, start small. Start by doing intermittent fasting. Just fast for like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. All right, without food. Right? You can have a little water to start. This is just practice. But eventually, you want to build that up to 12 hours, eventually 24 hours, no food, no water. All right, and it can be done. I haven't gotten to that level yet because, again, I just kind of got into it, Yasharallah, but I noticed the huge benefits and the parallels in the scriptures. And, you know, it's about time for me to hop on it. You know, I've been learning the scriptures for quite a while now. All right. But enough about me. You know, yeah. You're going to need also, I recommend electrolytes. Now, you don't got to buy nothing fancy. You know, Gatorade, they kind of put a lot of bullshit in there, but, you know, if you're already eating like that, you know, yeah, have some Gatorade, have some water. Okay, you want both. You want electrolytes and water. Some people buy the powders. All right, electrolyte powders. Okay, now just for those of y'all that don't know, when you're playing sports or when you're doing a hard ass job like construction for 12 hours in the sun in the heat, people dehydrate real fast and you can die real fast. So that's why people at their jobs, their boss will make them drink electrolytes. All right, so what you do is you put that shit in the water, because what happens if you just drink straight water while you're sweating, guess what? You're sweating out minerals too. So now your body's imbalanced, and so all the water you drink just get pissed out. So you will dehydrate. No matter how much water you drink, you will dehydrate. So you got to replenish with electrolytes. All right. Now, some people do it differently. Some people buy the powders. Some people make their own electrolytes. Some people just drink Gatorade. Me personally, I kind of do it the ghetto way. I kind of just use salt water. You know, I have a cup of salt water and I got a cup of regular water. All right. And what I do is I drink a big gulp of salt water and then I drink a big gulp of regular water. and then I feel it going down into my veins, and basically, you get hydrated like that. So if your eyes are dry as shit, try this, and you'll see. Take a big gulp of salt water and then a big gulp of regular water. Your eyes will go from dry to teary-eyed real quick in like not 5 seconds, maybe like 2 minutes. It does take a couple minutes, but you'll feel your eyes get watered. Like you'll go from dehydrated to fully hydrated. You see, and a lot of people have health problems because they don't even know about electrolytes. And we're really not even supposed to use electrolytes, but really we use them because Esau has contaminated the water supply. All right, I wasn't going to make a video without blaming Esau for something, so here we go. Esau sells water where he took all the minerals out of it, and he forces you to only buy that water. And if you want to buy artisan water, well water, you got to pay like quadruple price, right? The sink water's got a bunch of poisons in it, all right? And yeah, so it's pretty much impossible to drink water the way it's supposed to. So in nature, and back in the ancient days, people would drink water from the streams, and those would have natural electrolytes. So you didn't have to add electrolytes back to your water. All right. Now, I know I just spoke a lot. It's for a reason, Yasharala, because when you're fasting, you're going to get dehydrated. All right. And if you don't do this the right way, you could hurt yourself, like the elder, I forgot his name, but GMS South Carolina, the elder, I forgot. I should know his name. I watch his videos a lot. But anyway, the point is, if you don't do this right, don't be stupid about it. Don't just go from 0 to 100. Go to a 24-hour fast. You could die like that. So, like I said, build it up, right? But this is like when you're done with the fast, you want to get you some water, some electrolytes. Sit down for a little bit. You might have to drink 3 or 4 cups of water, whatever. You might have to drink 3 or 4 cups of electrolyte water with that. And then you're going to slowly feel your knees, your back, your spine, your veins, everything's going to open up. All right? Your eyes are going to get watery again, and you're going to feel strong again. All your strength's going to come back. All right? So you start with that, and then, of course, you're going to have a small meal to break the fast, right? You don't want a giant-ass meal. Don't be stupid, right? Ease into it. All right? So yeah, that's just a little trick that I know from, just from earthly wisdom, So yeah, get you some electrolyte powder if you don't know about this shit. Or if you drink Gatorade any damn way, have a few Gatorades. All right, but eventually, Yashua, you want to switch to something more natural. Make your own electrolytes, or buy powdered electrolytes that doesn't have bad ingredients. All right, but if you're just trying to learn how to fast, don't worry too much for now. Just start with the basics: Gatorade, or buy you an electrolyte powder, or you could do what I do, just salt water. It's nasty, but it works. And athletes do it. Salt is a powerful electrolyte. So yeah, Yasharala, this is just an optional thing. I highly recommend you learn about electrolytes so you can stay hydrated. This is gonna give you strength physically and mentally. All right, and it's also whatever helps you physically and mentally, right? It's going to transfer to the spiritual too. All right. So with that, Yasharala, yeah, keep watch. All right. You got uproars of the people. They threatening to shut the internet down in France. All right. And of course, Babylon the Great, steady sleeping, but not us, Yasharala. We know what the hell's going on. All right. So pray, fast. Keep following those laws, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. Keep preaching his word. All right. And keep your head up, Yasharala. Just, hey, we almost out of here. Look up, for our redemption draweth nigh, Yasharala. All right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. And until next time, I say shalom.